Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 9, Episode 20, which was titled Chateau She Did That. So the show opens, Kandi and Block take Riley to her favorite restaurant, and Riley is acting like a 13-year-old with a crush on a boy. Like she is not acting like a child who, rather happy, sad, or indifferent, who's sitting at the table with her mom and her dad. She's acting like really shy and giggling, and she's on the phone texting. And so Kandi brings up that dreadful song that she claims is Riley singing, that that she wrote from Riley's feelings and things that she said about the whole relationship with Block. So then of course Block says he wants to hear the song, so he listens to like the first 30 seconds of it and immediately knows that they're talking about him. And so, he says he wonders who the song would be dedicated to. So, Candy's like, well, I'm a songwriter. I think she said she was a Grammy Award winning songwriter, and that she basically just took, Riley's thoughts and made the song. So when Block suggests that Kandi leave the table, Riley says that if Kandi leaves, she's leaving also. So Kandi has to not even convince her to stay, but basically tell her that she has to stay, that Block is her dad. And then Kandi says, well, I'm going to the bathroom, but I'll be right back. And Riley was like, okay, well, I got to use bathroom too. But, Kandi makes her stay at the table. As soon as Kandi walks away, Riley pulls out the cell phone, she starts texting, just being blatantly disrespectful. Like, it's a difference between being nervous and just being disrespectful. And at that point, she was being disrespectful and didn't want to talk to Block, and wouldn't make eye contact or anything. So when Block says that he was there at the hospital when she was born, Riley asked him, did he sign the birth certificate? Like, okay, little girl, I'll give you one for that one, because that was a good comeback. So when Kandi comes back, we find out that Block did come to the hospital, but he was not there for the actual birth. And then I got to thinking, because somebody had said that Kandi and Block were having an affair because Block was married during the time that they were together. So that probably explains why he didn't sign the birth certificate and why he wasn't there. Well, I mean, it's not an excuse, but it explains why he didn't play a bigger role in Riley's life. So there seems to be, some confusion as to whether or not Block was ever a part of Riley's life or not. Then Kandi and Block get to bickering, and Riley has to step in and make them shut up and act like adults. And so they agree that going forward, Block is going to be a better father to Riley, because evidently he has other kids. So I don't know if the kids are from his wife or ex-wife, or if he just has like a bunch of kids spread around town. But he's obviously good to those kids, just not to Riley. And then Kandi points out that if you have at least one child that you're not active in their lives, then you can't consider yourself a good father. And I do agree with that. And so it ends, I think, with Riley letting him know that, she's not brainwashed, and that she doesn't need her mom to tell her that he wasn't a part of her life. She was there. She was present in her life, so she knows that he has not been there. He hasn't tried to call her, because Kandi said that Block has had Riley's phone number since she was 5 years old. So I'm thinking Riley has had a cell phone since she was 5, and Block hasn't bothered to call it. Then next, Phaedra and Johnny go to see, I think the lawyer's name was Oscar, and so he lets him know that he reviewed the case with, his firm. I guess they get together and decide which cases that they're going to take, and that they've decided that they can't represent him in regards to the restaurant claim, because remember, Johnny said that the restaurant was his idea, and she stole the idea and opened the restaurant with Todd. But he says that they will represent him in regards to the hourly wages, or, her not paying him for the hours that he worked. And so he introduces Johnny to the attorney that's going to be representing him. And she was a young woman, and I can't remember what her name was. It seemed like the last name was something like Go Million or something like that. But anyway, they seem to be more focused on the work Johnny did for Kandi's wedding. I guess that's going to be the easiest thing to prove, that he was not paid for all the hours that he put in. And so Phaedra jumps into the conversation and says that she's done the math, and Kandi paid Johnny $2.03 per hour based on the number of hours he said he worked on that wedding. And then she reminds us that this is not her case and she ain't got nothing to do with it, yet she keeps inserting herself into the situation. So Sheree and friends are at the chateau. You know, they're trying to throw the house together for the long-awaited housewarming. And it's the day before, but there is so much stuff that needs to be done. And then the construction manager comes in and lets Sheree know that the people showed up with the appliances, but it wasn't the custom-made appliances that she had ordered, that there were some stainless steel appliances or something that... Anyway, he sent them back and told them that that was not what she ordered. So now we know that when she has the housewarming, that there will not be any appliances in the kitchen. Porsha and Lauren go to visit their dad's gravesite, and Porsha learns that Lauren went through grief counseling when their dad died, and Lauren was actually raised by their dad. So I guess they don't have the same mother. Did I miss that somewhere along the way? And then, or maybe he had Lauren... Maybe he cheated on Porsha's mom with Lauren's mom, because they did say something about the mother and father being divorced. And then Porsha mentions that he always wanted the two of them to be whole sisters, and how, you know, she would always go visit her dad and she loved her dad and they had like this really great relationship. And then Porsha also mentioned, so she was like talking to the father, you know, talking to the grave and saying how, you know, she wants to have, you know, this great man and she wants to have kids and all of this stuff here. But she didn't think Todd was the right guy. But then she showed up at Sheree's housewarming with Todd and said that she was happy that they were there together. So I was a little confused on that part. So, of course, I have to say this once again, baby Ace is so dang going cute. So Kandi walks into the room, you know, with Carmen just in time for Don Juan to call and say that he saw on the blogs that Johnny is suing her. And I'm thinking... Okay, so Todd walks in, you know, in the middle of the conversation, and then when they get off the phone with Don Juan, Kandi says that, well, I heard, you know, that Phaedra was working with him on a lawsuit, but I didn't know what it was about. And I'm sitting there thinking that, Kandi, if you heard that Johnny said he was going to sue your ass. So if you heard that Phaedra and Johnny were working together, whether you thought the lawsuit was about you or somebody else, you would have called a meeting with Todd, Don Juan, Karma, and everybody else to say what Phaedra up to. I bet she's suing, you know, showing him how to sue me. So, girl, don't act all innocent. So then Kandi brings up, you know, Apollo girlfriend showing up at the soft opening, and that I think she wanted to talk to Phaedra about it. And so Todd says that he doesn't want to go to Sheree's housewarming, but Kandi says that she needs him there just in case she needs some backup. So Dwight shows up to take Phaedra to the ball, and it took me forever to think of what his name was, and then it finally came to me. And then, like I said, Todd is Porsha's date. Mal came with Cynthia, and then Todd and Kandi were together. Shamia was there, and I'm trying to figure out if Shamia is getting ready to get married, why her man ain't never with her at the various functions that they have. And then who else was there? Kenya eventually showed up, and of course she was alone. And then Lisa Wu was there. Kim Zolciak and Corey was there. Croy, I always call him Corey. And then Kim Zolciak and Croy were there. Marlo. And I thought I saw Toya from Married to Medicine, but I wasn't sure if it was her. So when Porsha and Todd arrive, they get there before Dwight and Phaedra. So Cynthia pulls her to the side and tells her, you know, about the Sheree girl showing up at the opening, and that she is a friend of Todd and Kandi. So she made sure she said that it was both their friends and that they have been together for 4 years. And Cynthia says that she's filling in for Sheree as the bone collector since Sheree is busy. And I'm just really confused about these numbers, because I thought Apollo had only been in jail for like a year and a half. So how him and the girl have been together for 4 years? Or was that a slip, or was Cynthia just being messy? And then Porsha points out that he's been gone for 2 years, so how could he have been with this woman for 4? But, of course, she has to let Phaedra know as soon as Phaedra gets there. So Sheree makes a grand entrance, from her grand staircase. And, she had this illuminating thing on the wall that says Chateau Sheree. And it was like a really nice party. And she had this girl twirling around in one of them round rings, and some other stuff was going on. And when Cairo walked through the door, I thought it was Todd, because y'all know I think them two look just alike. And then Sheree's mom was there, so it was nice to see her. So Porsha pulls Phaedra aside to let her know about Shireen, and Phaedra says that she is not surprised that Todd and Kandi would stoop that low, and then she also hints to the fact that they threw the party knowing that it was her birthday, and that they did that just to be messy. So to throw in this Apollo's girlfriend just adds to how what type of people they are. And then speaking of Phaedra's birthday, now I know Porsha said it was Phaedra's 40th birthday, but I saw somewhere on the internet that Phaedra is actually 43 years old. She's not 40 years old, which would make her 44 years old this year based on when the filming took place. So y'all get it together with these discrepancies. So in the other room, Sheree brings up, hearing that Johnny is suing Kandi, and Kandi says that when the lawsuit is actually filed, she'll let her lawyers handle it. And then Cynthia chimes in that if Johnny has 2 lawyers, that she is sure that Kandi has 14. And I'm thinking Cynthia is just such an ass kisser. So Peter shows up, and Cynthia makes it her business to go say hi, and she says that she's going to make Peter be her friend. I'm thinking, like, why is she so obsessed with having Peter as her friend? Like, she has to realize that Leon is Nicole's father. If Leon was not Nicole's father, they probably would not have the special friendship that they have, I guarantee you. So it's a housewarming reunion, like I said. Lisa Wu was there, and Kim and Croy showed up, and Kenya finally arrived at this point, and being her typical Tyke self, she goes on the prowl in the basement, to prove that Sheree's house is not finished. And then I don't know how she got down there, because earlier in the show, Sheree had said that she hired security to make sure that people like Kenya didn't go snooping around the house, trying to find things to talk about. So I'm with Kandi again. That's twice in one episode, where she said that a lot of people are living in houses with unfinished basements, and that is the truth. Like, a lot of people. And so Kenya and Kandi, they get escorted back to the main level of the house, and what's her name? Kayla, Sheree's daughter, she runs into the bedroom because Sheree and Kim are laying across the bed reminiscing, and Sheree blows a fuse, and she jumps up and like, who's in my basement? Who's in my basement? And she goes running out, and then Kandi decides to approach Kim and say, let bygones be bygones, after things was like getting all crazy. And so while all this is going on, freaking frat, they're on their own tour of the house, and they're just admiring all the decor and everything. And then at one point they were in the bathroom in the shower, because it's like Sheree's shower is like the size of one of the bedrooms in my house. The shower was so doggone big. So they were dancing around and playing when they hear all the ruckus. So they decide to go and see what is going on. So Kenya is insisting that Sheree stole her style. And I'm just thinking, like, styles are styles, and everybody, like, whatever's hot, so if a black piece of wood is hot, there's going to be 50 variations of that black piece of wood that people are going to have in your house. So unless somebody had the exact identical item, Kenya, they're not, copying you, and they're not stealing off of you. And trust me, even if Sheree was copying off of you, she did a better copying job, because everything in her house looked way better than Kenya's did. And I mean, she was talking about the headboard and just all this other stuff that she was going on and on, just being so catty and petty, like her only purpose for going to the housewarming was to be a distraction. So like I said, Kenya's insisting that Sheree stole her style, and then Marlo tells Sheree she doesn't have to entertain someone who's in their 40s and just buying their first house. And so Kenya, was called everything from Bob the Builder by Cynthia to petty basement bitch by by Sheree. So Kim steps in to let Kenya know, that she is totally out of order. And I was just like, amen and thank you, Jesus. And so Kim was just like basically giving Kenya the business. And then Kenya was like, I think she said something about Croy being out of work, and then Kim said, "Well, my husband has made $20 million, throughout his career with the NFL, so I think he's going to be okay." And then Kenya said something else about Kim and her kids or something like that, and then Kim just took it to her and told her that she wished she had a man, she wished she had some kids, and then she has a dark, evil heart or something like. Kenya, why don't you stop while you're ahead? So Kim was trying to get Sheree to kick Kenya out of the party, but Sheree said, she wasn't going to do that, but she did need everybody to calm the hell down and stop all that yelling and bickering and just enjoy the party. And then she ripped off her skirt and she had on like this cat suit. And then here come Kenya again, talking about who are you supposed to be? And she named some female character. And then Sheree said, "No, I'm Superwoman because I did all this on my own and by myself." So when Kim was leaving, she hugged. So it was, I think it was Kandi. It was Kandi. Maybe Shamia. Kenya. It was like four people sitting there. So Kim walked in and she hugged Kandi. She hugged who was sitting next to Kandi. She stepped over Kenya and hugged whoever was sitting in the single chair. And then Kenya said something to her, and Kim let her know that she wasn't talking to her because she didn't understand why the hell she was still there. So if Kim does come back next year, it's going to be solely to cuss Kenya out every other episode. So after all the drama dies down, Kandi wants to talk to Phaedra about Johnny and the lawsuit. So she pulls her off to the side. And so Phaedra tells Kandi, that she missed the soft opening of the restaurant. And immediately Kandi jumps in and she apologizes and explains to Phaedra about Shireen coming and that she didn't know her. She didn't know she was coming. That Paulo had arranged, for the lady to show up and that she knew nothing about it. And that after the opening, she did talk to Todd and tell Todd, that wasn't a good look. And so Phaedra says that, she's happy that Kandi apologized. And then the moment only lasted for a second because then Kandi felt very comfortable as she asked Phaedra, if she suggested that Johnny sue her. So then Phaedra says that it would be unethical of her to speak on Johnny's case or anything that Johnny has talked to her as a lawyer. And she says that she doesn't go out seeking people to give advice to. So evidently Johnny came to her. So at that point, it becomes confidential information and that she can't talk to Kandi about it. So of course Kandi is mad, like, girl, you can tell me what that boy said. But Phaedra, she keeping her hands over because she know that even though she didn't go to Johnny when Johnny came to her, instead of her just saying, I don't want nothing to do with this, go find another lawyer, she did help him find another lawyer and then continues to sit in on the meetings with them. So Phaedra, you're wrong for that. But then again, Phaedra say her and Kandi aren't friends anymore. So I guess if you ain't friends no more, then you aren't obligated, to do what most of us would have done, which has been to tell Johnny to get on down the road. So the show ends with Sheree thanking everyone for coming and reminding them yet again that she did it all on her own. So guys, let me know what you think about the recap. Let me know what you thought about the show. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until next time, I hope everyone has a wonderfully blessed week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.